මයික් වැඩ නැද්ද? මේක ඔන් කරාද වීඩියෝ? දැම්මනේ. Right. Good morning to all. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Right, okay. Okay, so today we are going to discuss one of the new standard, which is SLFRS 13 standard, right? SLFRS 13 standard is about the fair value, which should known as very important standard, because you may have noticed this in most of the cases. Right, most of the cases you may hear that we're using the word fair value, right? So fair value standard is an most important lesson to be followed, right? So basically, SLFRS 13 discussed about the fair value measurement, right? It talks about the fair value measurement. We'll see what is this fair value measurement says, right? Fair value measurement SLFRS 13, right? In other terms, in Sinhala we call sadharana, right? Fair value. From this standard, you wanted to know a few important things. Right, okay. So we'll see the first thing, what are the learning objectives, what we want to learn under the fair value measurement standard, right? So first thing, we should know how to define fair value, how it has defined the fair value in the SLFRS 13 statement, the standard, and we want to see application of fair value concept to the non-financial assets, liabilities, and entities' own equity instruments, financial assets, and the financial liabilities. So these basically financial assets and the financial liabilities fair value we are not going to discuss today. It is a separate part where we want to learn under the SLFRS 9, right? So but in relation to the non-financial assets, we are going to learn what is fair value and explain fair value at initial recognition, valuation techniques, and inputs to valuation techniques. Now remember, when you learning this standard, you can't identify what is the initial measurement, what is the subsequent measurement. It is not like that. We are focusing on the word fair value. What is this fair value? How to derive this fair value? Understood? Other than that, this standard does not follow the normal routine or the normal contents which was there in the previous standards what we discussed in the class, right? So that we want to focus and outline what are the disclosures. This is very important. In terms of this SLFRS 13, disclosure is very important, or I would say disclosure is the main requirement of this standard, right? So we'll see about these learning objectives one by one, and you also can see the scope of this standard, right? When you look at the scope of this standard, you can identify this SLFRS 13 standard does not apply to measurement of fair value in respect of the following. So you can see, you can learn these things in future. I think we have not done few of these standard except for this LKS2 inventories. Other than that, all the other standards we have discussed, right? Share-based payments, right? When it comes to this share-based payment, right? Share-based payment, SLFRS 2, right? Share-based payment transactions also we should know about this fair value, but there we refer a different fair value. It is not the fair value what we are learning today under SLFRS 13, right? When we are learning this SLFRS 2 share-based payment standard also, they talks about some fair values, but you can't apply these theories when you get the fair value of, when you arrive the fair value of SLFRS 2 standard. Also, when it comes to this SLFRS 16 leases, right, for that standard also, the fair value concept or the fair value will not apply. The fair value concept what we are discussing under this SLFRS 13 will not apply in case of this SLFRS 16. And also, we learned last week about this, or in our previous sessions, we discussed this net realizable value, NRV. Don't mix it up, NRV and fair value as a single terminology, or it gives the same knowledge, it gives the same idea, because net realizable value is not referred as the fair value. It's not the fair value. So, which is under SLFRS 19, and we are going to discuss another standard called impairment. Impairment standard also, there's a word called value in use. Don't mix it up, that value in use in, see the value in use, right? There's a word called value in use. This value in use is not referred as the fair value under the standard, right? So, these are the scope that you want to keep. Other than that, this standard will applicable in all other cases. Now, you all know that when we discussed last week, in our previous sessions, we have discussed property, plant and equipment standard. Also, we have discussed intangible asset standard. Also, we have discussed investment properties standard. All these standard, you may come across this word fair value. So, today we are going to see what is this fair value. But remember, in case of these standards, right, this fair value is not applicable. Just keep that in mind, right? So with that, we move to the balance part, right? Okay. First important thing is the definition given in the fair value. Definition. Okay. Shall we try to read this definition? Right. What do you mean by fair value? The price that would be received to sell an asset or paid to transfer a liability in an orderly transaction between market participants at measurement date. So this is how standard define fair value. You can see, right? You can see, right? Okay. Shall we take our accounting standard books? Right. Please take your accounting standard book with you and turn to LK 16 property, plant and equipment standard. LK 16 property, plant and equipment standard. under that standard, you can see the definitions. We have already done, I think you may have already highlighted those definitions also. Right? In those definitions, see whether there's a definition for the fair value also, and if so, can someone read it loud, please? Yes. Please take your LK16 PP standard, and under the definitions you can see LKs, under definition you can see all the definitions are given, right? Within that definition, can you see whether the definition for the fair value is there? If so, can someone read it, please?
Can I read, sir?
Yes, please.
Fair value is the price that would be received to sell an asset or paid to transfer a liability in an ordinary transaction between market participants at the measurement date.
Right. Now, where you read that definition in the property, plant and equipment standard fair value paragraph, or the under property, plant and equipment, when you are referring the definitions, you can see there also the definition for the fair value is given. Right? Here I have taken this definition from SFRS 13, where this definition origins. So here you can see in all the standard, you can see this fair value definition, which is similar to its original, which is in the SFRS 13 standard. Understood? Right. So that's why it is utmost important for us to learn this fair value, because this is a common definition, or this is a common terminology we are using across almost all the standard, except for that standard which we scope out under the scope section. Right? Okay. So we'll see mainly what is this fair value. Right. We'll try to learn some of the key words given in this definition. So you can see fair value is, right, some important words are there. Fair value is a price that would be received to sell an asset. Right? Sell an asset. You want to sell particular asset, right? What is the amount that you are going to receive, or paid to transfer a liability? Remember, fair value is not applicable only for the assets. It will be applicable for the liabilities as well. So standard say fair value is the price you get when you sell your asset or when you settle your liability. Look at this. This is the most important thing. In orderly transaction. Orderly transaction in the sense, it shouldn't be an extraordinary one. It should be a general transaction. It should not be in a specific transaction. It should be a general, it should be in that particular transaction should be in its general nature. Right? Between market participants, this has to be happen not with your friends. Between market participants, there should be a person who is willing to sell. There should be a person who is willing to buy. Both, they don't know each other, but they want to sell their, one party want to sell their asset, the other party wants to buy their asset. So that is called the fair value. Right. Now we'll take a little bit of examples, and again we'll read this definition. Then you will get a thorough idea about this standard. Right. About this definition. Now here we'll take, now you want to buy or you want to sell your car. You want to sell your car. What is the common practice we use or we follow when you want to sell your car? You want to sell your car for a good price. What usually you do? If you want to sell your car, what is the usual practice all of us normally used to do? Tell me.
Ikman.lk.
Very good. You put an advertisement on Ikman.lk. Ikman.lk is a very popular website or a popular web page where we used to place our advertisement, where so many people are looking to those websites to fulfill their necessities. Mainly, people are putting advertisement to sell properties, sell motor vehicles, right, in the Ikman.lk website. You mention, you take some of the pictures of your motor car and you put an advertisement saying that this car has these condition and I'm willing to sell this for, we'll say 1.5 million or 2 million or whatever it is amount, right? Then you, in your point of view, you are a seller, isn't it? You are a seller. A person who has intention to buy the cars also will refer the Ikman.lk website. We can identify as a buyer. He's a buyer, right? So when you are a seller and he's a buyer, both you come to a certain negotiation. Now assume that your intention is to sell this motor car for 1.5 million. His intention is to take this motor car for 1.4 million. Both of you have a negotiation and come to a conclusion. Okay, to agree both, we will sell this for we'll say 1.450. Win-win for both sides, right? So you agreed to a middle price. This you can known as the fair value, because this price came to conclusion, or both the parties negotiated and come to a conclusion to sell this asset for 1.45, where the other party to buy this asset for 1.45. So you can see there are market participants. And you want to sell your asset. This is the price. Look at this. The price, now we'll read. The price that would be received. Look at this always. It doesn't say that should be paid. See the wording given in the standard. Standard does not say the price that you paid. It says the price that you received. That means by selling it. It's an exit price. Always the fair value is, we call that as an exit price. Exit price in the sense, fair value is something we received by selling the asset. It's not the amount you want to spend to buy that asset. You want to tell that in seller's point of view. Understood? So it says the price that would receive to sell asset or pay transfer a liability in orderly transaction, right? Assume that I have a bank loan. I go to bank and say that I have money now. I want to settle my liability today. Tell me how, at what price I need to settle. That is called the fair value in case of a liability. paid to transfer liability in orderly transaction. Orderly transactions in the sense, now, if I sell this asset to my friend, it is not an orderly transaction. There is no this is not between with the market participant. Orderly transaction in the sense, it has to be a regular, normal transaction, right? Between market participant at measurement date. Measurement date in the sense, the date we specifically do the transaction. So this is how they define, the standard define fair value definition. Remember those keywords you want to see, you want to keep in mind. Okay, fair value is something. It is not something that amount you want to pay. It is something that you receive by selling your asset or by settling your liability. Something you receive. It is called the fair value. Look at this word, received. Clear? Right. So this is the basic definition or the definition for the fair value given in the standard. Right. Okay. We'll see some of the important things here. This is exit price. That's what I told, right? This is known as an exit price. Remember, this is exit price. Always it talks about it's an exit price. That is the price an entity disposing of asset or liability would achieve rather than price that entity acquiring an asset. Always think about that. It is not something related to the purchasing side, selling side, exit price. Right? Then right. Example, when an entity willing to sell a motor car for rupees 10 million and the buyer also willing to buy that car at the same price, that is the fair value for the asset. Because the fair value says, look at this, right? The fair value says the amount they receive by selling the asset. So in the selling company's point of view, you want to tell, okay, this is 10 million. Don't think about the buyer's point of view. Think about that on the seller's point of view. I think definition part is clear for you. Right? Okay. So with that, we'll move to the next one. Right. Then we wanted to see how we should measure the fair value. Standard discussed about something called a price. We learned, right? If you look at the definition, in the first wording of the definition, it says about this price. See, price. It talks about this price. Now we'll see how to get this price, right? How we should measure this price. Price. Fair value is a market-based measurement. Fair value in the sense it's a market-based measurement. Not an entity-specific measurement. It's market participants' point of view. Always you want to think upon the market participants' point of view. It's not something entity-specific value, right? It's not something entity-specific value. It has to be agreed by both the parties. Market should agree to that price. Fair value is measured using the assumption that market participant would use when pricing the asset and the current market condition, taking into any relevant characteristics of the asset. Now, say for an example, we have that Candy KCC building or the KCC building, and you know the Candy, the Food City building, which is very old building, which is in Candy, the Food City building. You all may have known this, right? Now, if the owners of the that Food City building wants to sell this, fair value in the sense the price that they received by which is agreed by both seller and the buyer, all the market participants. Now, when determining the price for that building, the market participants will think, look here, this is very old ancient building. It is situated in the heart of the Candy city. And when we are selling that, everybody have easy access to that building. Likewise, that particular building has its own specific characteristics. Right? So all these factors need to be considered when selling the asset, and buyer also should concern about these factors. Finally, seller and the buyer agrees to a particular price considering all these characteristics, right? And fair value is the amount received by the selling company or by the seller. What he received should be the fair value. It is always, remember, on the market participant's point of view. Market, it's not entity specific. It's not an individual value decided by one party. No, it has to be a trade-off amount. Trade-off කියලා කියන්නේ දෙගොල්ලොම සාකච්ඡා කරලා එකඟ වෙලා නේද trade-off වෙලා දෙන්නගෙම negotiation එකේ ප්‍රතිඵලයක් විදියට එන the final value. We call that as the fair value. Right? Okay. Therefore, whether entity intends to hold an asset or settle liability is irrelevant when measuring the fair value. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙම කියන්න බෑ පුතා fair value කියන එක. අපේ කම්පැනිට බිල්ඩින් එකක් තියෙනවා property plant and equipment එකක්. We have decided to use revaluation model to that particular asset. So we need to get the fair value of the asset. අපි විකුණනවාද asset එක? අපි විකුණනවාද asset එක නේ. අපි use කරන්නේ fair value model එක. Now last week or in last session we discussed about the investment property. Investment property, either you can measure the cost model by using the cost model or by using the fair value model. That case, you want to measure this fair value each year. Are you going to sell your asset? No. එහෙම කියලා අපි fair value එක determine කරනකොට අපි fair value එක determine කරන්න ඕනේ අපි මේක විකුණුවොත් අද කොච්චරක් මගේ අතට සල්ලි හම්බෙනවද? That value I need to incorporate by when taking this fair value. Or else it's not something that we determine by ourselves, only thinking about ourselves. Api to mecharak fair value ekkila. No, that is not the fair value. It should always be the case where the price that we going to receive by selling the asset today. Understood? Right. I think we have a lot more discussed about the definition part, especially. Therefore, we'll move to the other parts. I believe that you are clear about the definition part of the fair value. Is yes or no? Clear about the fair value part? Right. It seems you understood what is fair value. Right? Okay. Now, we are going to discuss some few other factors. Right? Important thing is now how to get this value. We want to use some valuation technique, isn't it? අපි හිතන්නකෝ අපේ කම්පැනි එකේ තියනවා කියලා බිල්ඩින් එක. අපි ඒක කුලියට දීලා තමයි තියෙන්නේ. So what is it then? We have a building which we have given on rent. Then how we should recognize that in our books of account? In case which standard applicable? How we should treat that in our books of accounts? As what? As an investment property, right? Which standard will be applicable? LK is 40, investment property standard will applicable. Assume that we have decided to use the fair value model to measure our investment properties. So each year in you want to calculate particular fair value for your building. That doesn't mean that you are going to sell your building. අපි හැම අවුරුද්දෙම බලනවා මෙයාගේ market price එක fair value එක කීයද කියලා. ඒකෙන් කියන්නේ අපි මේ විකුණනවද building එක නැහැ. ඔයාලට තියෙන්නේ definition එකෙන් කියන්නේ the money that you expect to receive. ඒ කියන්නේ asset එක විකුණනවා කියන එක නෙමෙයි. විකුණුවොත් කීයක් හම්බෙයිද? That is the fair value. Right? So here, in order to get a fair value, we need to use some valuation technique to calculate this now. Right. If you go and see the standard, you can see the standard has different valuation techniques. Mainly these valuation techniques are into three. There are three valuation techniques. First one is market approach. By using a market approach, you can value your particular asset. Second thing is, if you can't use any market approach, you can go to the cost approach. If the cost approach is also cannot be fine or cannot be used, you can use or you can approach income or the income approach. You can use the income approach. Standard specify how many valuation techniques? Three valuation techniques. First one is market approach. Second one is cost approach. Third one is income approach. Now we'll look at each of these approaches. First one, the market approach. What do you mean by this market approach? I'll try to give you an example. Through an example, we'll try to learn market approach. Right. We'll take this example. Then we'll see the definition part. Right. Read this example. An entity purchase 10,000 number of shares. Right. Entity has purchased 10,000 number of shares. You can see 10,000 number of shares. They have purchased 10,000 number of shares. Now, when it comes to these shares we know that is an asset. What sort of asset this is? Is it like property, plant and equipment? When it comes to shares, we call that sort of assets as what? අපි තාම ඉගෙනගෙන නැහැ. ඒකට ඉතින් ඔයාලා දන්නවනේ. shares කියන්නේ මොන assets මොන වගේ asset එකක්ද ඒක? Yes. We call it as financial asset. PP එකක් ගත්තොත්, motor vehicle එකක් ගත්තොත්, we call it sorry? अब चरक हरेट क्लियर है. Real assets, so you can call it as what I mean was, these are financial assets. Very good. It is non-financial asset. Financial assets and non-financial assets. So you can see, mama me examples දෙනකොට financial assets උත් example විදියට ගන්නවා, non-financial assets උත් example එකක් විදියට ගන්නවා. Market approach එකට ගොඩාක් ගැලපෙන්නේ financial asset එකක්. ඒකයි මම financial asset එකක උදාහරණයක් ඔයාලට ගත්තේ. Right. Now you can see entity purchased 10,000 number of shares of Abbas PLC at cost of rupees 150. I have spent 150. Then mage balance sheet ekේ, right? If I go to my balance sheet, in my balance sheet I have an asset called investment in shares. Right? So I have credit my cash book and debit 150 into 10,000. That is 1.5 million. Right? 1.5 million I have debit. This is my asset. This asset also I need to bring to the fair value at the year end. Year end ekේදී මෙයා fair value එකට ගන්න ඕනේ, because it is a requirement of the SFRS 13 standard, SFRS 9 standard. Financial instruments වලට වෙනම standard එකක් තියෙනවානේ. එයා කියනවා shares නම් එයාව fair value එකට ගන්න ඕනේ කියලා. That's a requirement. අපි ඒවා පස්සේ ඉගෙන ගමු. But for the time being, just keep this in mind. Now we want to bring this to the fair value. How we can get the fair value of this fair value of this non-financial asset? Yes, tell me. How we can take that? මෙන්න මෙයාගේ මේ shares වල fair value එක ගන්න කොහොමද? How we can get the fair value? Exactly. You can go to the CSC website, Colombo Stock Exchange website. Since Avance is a PLC, public limited company, their share prices should disclose by this company, by the Colombo Stock Exchange on every day. So you can go and refer the CSC website, right? You can go and see the CSC website, right? Right? You can take that price from the CSC website, right? The cost is 1.5 million, and you can go to the CSC website and you can find how much is the market price. See, this is the market price of the, this is where you can get the market price. How the site එකට ගියොත් ඔයාලට පුළුවන් මෙන්න මේ market price එක ගන්න. මේ තියෙන Avance. See, Avance එකේ මේ තියෙන market price එක as of a particular date, right? It says open, you can see open value, highest price, low price, and the last traded price. Normally you can use this last traded price as the fair value, where it has traded at 186. So what you can do, right? What you can do is you can get the fair value of this asset, right? Fair value of this particular shares. You can apply this 186, which was the last trading price of the shares, and get the fair value of these shares as 1,860,000. So here you have taken the fair value, right? You have taken the fair value. Which approach you have used? The market approach. From market you have taken this data, right? You can use this CSC Colombo Stock Exchange website, and from this website you can get this data. These are the prices determined based on the demand and the supply happen in the market. Market එකේ demand එකයි supply එකයි base වෙලා hub වෙච්ච last trading price. Agree with market participants like agree with price එක. We have applied that price and we have come to this fair value. එහෙනම් අපි මෙතනදී use කරලා තියෙන technique එක තමයි market approach. This is what we discussed. Now read this definition. A valuation technique that use prices and other relevant information generated by the market transaction. So we have taken this from the market. There's a readily available market for the shares. So from that we have taken it. So we have applied market approach when we take the valuation. So you have to use like සමහර assets තියෙනවා මේ වගේ market data ගන්න පුළුවන්. අව සමහර assets තියෙනවා මේ වගේ market data ගන්න බැරි. ඒ වගේ වෙලාවකදී තමයි අපි යන්නේ මේ අනිත් approaches වලට. Right? Then only we are moving to the other approaches. Now here what we discussed was this market approach. Are you clear about this market approach? How we apply this market approach? Right? Okay. So next we are moving to the other approaches. The second approach is the cost approach. What is it under the cost approach? What do you mean by this cost approach? ඒ කියන්නේ පුතා මොකද්ද මේ cost approach එක කියලා කියන්නේ? ඒකෙත් අපි definition එක පස්සේ කියමු. We take one example. ඔයාලා දැකලා පුරුදු දෙයක් තියෙනවා මේක. Right? මේක දැකලා තියෙනා නේ? කාගේ vehicle එකද මේ? කාගේ vehicle එකද ඔය? Yes, Scooby-Doo vehicle එක, right. Now we need to value this asset. දැන් මෙයා ඇවිල්ලා මේ vehicle එක පෙන්නනවා නම් අපි vehicle එක පෙන්නන්නේ මොන standard එකේද? Yes, we take this vehicle under the PP standard. නේද? මෙයා තියෙන්නේ LK16 PP standard එක තමයි දැන් මෙන්න මේකට තියෙන්නේ. You know, under property plant and equipment standard, either you can use the cost model or the revaluation model. Revaluation model, in the sense, in other terms, you can use the fair value. Now you want to take the fair value for this asset. හරි. දැන් කියන්නකෝ ඔයාගේ දැන් මේ asset එක ඔයාගේ books වල තියෙනවා. ඔයා decide කරලා තියෙනවා ඔයගලගේ property plant and equipment වල vehicle කියන class එක motor vehicle කියන class එකට you are going to apply the fair value. You are going to apply the revaluation, or that means the fair value model. Now you want to determine market price for this. ඔයා කොහොමද මේකට fair value එකක් ගන්න? මේ vehicle එකට ඔයා fair value එක ගන්න කොහොමද? You want to, this is the vehicle that you are using currently in your business. Now you want to get a fair value for this. How you are going to take that? Yes, how you are planning to take this? Very good. You can go and get the log into the ikman.lk and see මේ වගේ vehicles වලට ikman.lk එකේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් යන prices කීයද? ඒ වගේ මිනිස්සු ගන්න විකුණන්න කැමති prices markets. Yes, you can refer the ikman.lk and you can get it. Right? That is one way you can get the market value. Right? That is one way where you can use to get the market value. Right? What else? You can see, you can also apply a cost approach. In the absence of the market, අපි හිතමුකෝ ikman.lk එම මුකුත් websites මුකුත් නෑ. දැන් අපි ඒ market value එක හොයන්න ඕනේ. How to get that? We'll see. Look, read this example. Entity purchase a motor vehicle for rupees 2.5 million in 2 years ago. මේ asset එක අරගෙන තියෙනවා 2 years ago, අවුරුදු දෙකකට කලින් කීයක් ගෙවලාද? 2.5 million දීලා. And depreciated over the useful life of 5 years. දැන් මේක අවුරුදු දෙකකට කලින් අරගෙන මේක depreciate කරගෙන එනවා දැන් අවුරුදු දෙකක්. Management decided to revalue its motor vehicles and need to get the fair value for this vehicle. Now we need to get a fair value for this vehicle. Now the matter is how we are going to get this way the fair value. Then Scooby දන්නවා brand new motor vehicles current price is 3 million. ඒ කියන්නේ අද මේ vehicle එක market එකකින් ගත්තොත් කීයද? It's 3 million. If I purchase this asset today අලුත්ම brand new vehicle එකක් ගත්තොත්. Look at this, Look at this word. We have used the word, if we purchase a brand new motor vehicle, අලුත්ම වාහනයක් අද ගත්තොත් කීයද? It is 3 million. We know our asset we have used for 2 years. Therefore, on the cost approach, when you are taking that, you want to see, hurry. Now, if you take this asset today, you need to spend 3 million. නැත්නම් විකුණන කම්පැනියට 3 million හම්බෙනවා. අපි මේ asset එක use කරලා තියෙන්නේ අවුරුදු දෙකක්. ඉතින් අපි බලනවා right. එහෙනම් මේක අවුරුදු දෙකක් use කරොත් කියන්නේ ඉතිරි අවුරුදු 3ට මෙයාගේ value එක කීයක් වෙන්න ඕනද? 1.8 million. So you can take this 1.8 million as the fair value for this under the cost approach. Other giyot cost එක කීයක් දීලා මේක ගන්නවද? ගන්නවද මෙහෙම approaches දීලා තියෙන්නේ. හැම asset එකටම market approach එක use කරන්න බෑ. Practical නෑ. I will tell you some example. එතකොට ඔයාලට තේරෙයි මොකද්ද මේ කියලා. හැම asset එකකටම market approach එකක් ගන්න බෑ. දැන් ඉස්සෙල්ලා අපි asset එකක් ගත්ත shares. For that we had market data. But for all the asset we can't find market data. In that case, we may not be able to go for the market approach. We may have to go to the balance 2 approaches, cost approach and the income approach. Right? So when we are using this cost approach, this kind of a methodology we can use to arrive this figure and come to conclusion, okay, our fair value of the asset today under this cost approach will be 1.8. Now read the definition. A valuation technique that reflects the amount that would be required currently to replace the service capacity of the asset. මේ වගේම asset එකක් අද ගත්තොත් දැන් මේ වගේ asset එකක් අද ගත්තොත් කියලා අපිට 3 million ගන්න බෑ fair value එක. ඇයි? අපි මේ asset එක 2 years use කරලානේ. So you want to do some adjustment and come to this come to this figure 1.8 million. So it says currently to replace අද ගන්න නම් අද මේ වගේ asset එකක් ගන්න නම් කීයක් නම් spend කරන්න ඕනද? Which is the cost approach that I am using. Clear, right? So that is the second part. Are you all clear now what is the market approach and what is the difference in the cost approach? Any doubt you need to clarify? Yes, Deshan, your answer is also correct. Any doubt that you have in these two scenarios we discussed? Right. So we move to the other one, that is third one, the third category of the valuation or the third valuation technique, which is income approach. What do you mean by this income approach? Right. We'll see what do you mean by this income approach. Okay. Then මෙහෙම තියනවා පුතා. දැන් අපිට තියෙනවා මේ වගේ building එකක්. හරිද? මේ building එක අපි දීලා තියෙන්නේ rent එකට. What is the standard applicable? We know that it's investment property, so we need to apply LKS 40. Right? We need to apply LKS 40 investment property standard. The reason is we have rented out this building. We know under LKS 40, you can either use the cost model or the fair value model. Assume that we are using the fair value model. Now you want to get a valuation for this fair value for this building. What are the approach you can use? You can use the market approach. You can use the cost approach. In the absence of those two, you can use the income approach also. Right. So how to get the income approach? කොහොමද income approach එක කියලා කියන්නේ පුතා? අපි මේ example එක කියමු. Entity has a building which has given on rent. Carrying value of the building was 2.8. If the entity choose fair value model for the building, how to determine the fair value and the income approach? That is the question we have. So what you can do by using this asset or by using this building, if you rent this building out for period of 5 years, we'll just assume for the understanding purpose, these are the cash flows where you can generate from this asset. That means by renting out this building for a period of 5 years, you can get 1 million each for these 5 years. Right? So what you can do, these are the income which you are going to generate from this asset. You want to get the present value of those income, and this present value you can reflect as the fair value under this income approach. Here you check what are the future income you can generate from this asset. Right? What are the future income you can generate from these assets, and based on that you want to get the present value of these future incomes discounted by applying appropriate discounting factor, and you can get the present value of this. So this is the third approach. Right? Now we learn 3 approaches. First one is the income approach. Second one is the cost approach. First one is the market approach. Second one is the cost approach, and third one is the income approach. So those are the 3 approaches we learned. Right? Okay. Now we'll read the definition. This is a valuation technique that converts future amounts, example cash flows or the income, to single discounted amount. So you take the present value of the future income which we can generate from this particular asset and get the present value of that. Right? Okay. So these are the three concepts or the three valuation techniques given in the standard for these assets. Right? Now we learn, right? In the first case we learned the market approach. Second case we discussed about the income approach, and third case we discussed about this second we discussed about this cost approach, and third we discussed about this market approach. Now you can identify, to get the fair value, there are different valuation techniques that we can use. Right. Then මෙහෙම හිතන්නකෝ. දැන් ඇයි මෙහෙම valuation technique දීලා තියෙන්නේ? ඔන්න මම practical example එකකට එනවා. ඒකෙන් ඔයාලා try කරන්න තේරුම් ගන්න. හරි. Have you been into Nuwara we'll say the Ambewela or the New Zealand farm or the Pattipala farm? Have you been into Nuwara and have you gone to the Ambewela or the Pattipala farm? Yes. ගිහින් තියනවා නේ අම්බේවල ෆාම් එක පැත්තේ බලලා තියනවා නේද එහෙ ඉන්නවා. Right. Okay. Now if you go and see this the Ambewela farm, you can identify then Ambewela farm එකේ ඉන්න ඒ කියන්නේ අපි Ambewela farm එක කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම මෙහි ඉන්න cattles ලා බලන්න. cattles ලා කියලා කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම හිතන්නකෝ cows ලා අනේවට අඳින්න නම් බෑ. cows ලා බලන්න තමයි අපි යන්නේ. ඒ එක සත්තු ඉන්නවා. Then ඒ Ambewela farm එකේ accounts අරගෙන බැලුවොත් ඔයාලා හිතන විදිහට මේ cattles ලා එයාලගේ balance sheet එකේ පෙන්නන්න එපේ. එයාලගේ balance sheet එකේ මේ cow පෙන්නන්න ඕනේ. නේද? මේ cattles ලා අපි එයාලට කියන්නේ cattle. හරිද? ඒ කිරි දෙනා නැත්නම් එළ දෙනෙකුට අපි කියන්නේ cattle කෙනෙක් කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. දැන් මේ cattle කෙනෙක් ගත්තොත් cattles ලා identify කරන්නේ මොන asset එකක් විදිහද? Cattles known as what kind of an asset? Yes, we know them as yes. Under the agricultural standard, we identify them as biological asset. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි තාම මේ ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එක ඉගෙන ගත්තේ නේ. ඒක LKS 41. LKS 41 කියන ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එකේ බයොලොජිකල් ඇසෙට් එකක් තමයි මේ cattle කෙනේ. දැන් අපි ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙන අපේ balance sheet එකේ property plant and equipment තියෙනවා, intangible assets තියෙනවා, investment properties තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේනේ. ඒ වගේ අපේ company එකට biological asset තිබ්බොත් එයාලා biological assets කියලා අපි line item එකකින් balance sheet එකට asset එකක් විදියට ගන්නවා. Standard එක කියනවා මේ biological assets measure කරන්න ඕනි fair value less cost to sell. දැන් අපි ඉගෙන ගන්න නැතිනම් අපි හිතමුකෝ fair value එකට. Biological assets should, if your company has biological assets, you should measure them also at the fair value. Right. දැන් හිතන්න මෙන්න මේ cattle කෙනෙකුට ඒ කියන්නේ එයාටත් ගන්න ඕනේ fair value. එයාටත් fair value ගන්න. මේ cattleට market approach එකද use කරන්න පුළුවන්, cost approach එකද use කරන්න පුළුවන්, income approach එකද use කරන්න පුළුවන්. As you believe. Can this cattle use market approach? Can this cattle use the market approach? Can't. Why? ලංකාවේ තියෙනවද හරක් මිලදී ගන්න විකුණන වෙළඳපොළක් shares වගේ daily වෙන market එකේ වෙන එහෙම ඒවා තියෙනවද? You can't find this kind of things. එහෙනම් මොනවද ඔයාලට මේකට කරන්න පුළුවන්? What sort of approach you can use? Do you believe that market approach is a good approach to be used to value the cattle? No, you can't use. හැබැයි standard එක කියන්නේ පුළුවන් නම් ඉතින් market approach එකට යන එක හොඳයි. market නේ එතකොට නියතරම අපේ definition එකටත් එක්ක ගැලපෙන්නේ. It's a good. But only thing is we can't go because we can't find market for the kettles. ඉන්න මේක හරි ඒක ස්ටෑන්ඩ් එක අපිට දුන්නේ මොනවද? එක එක valuation techniques. මේ valuation technique එක හරි ගියේ නැත්නම් මේ valuation technique එක use කරන්න. මේක හරි ගියේ නැත්නම් මේක use කරන්න කියලා valuation techniques දීලා තියෙන එකයි. හැම එකටම එකක් ගැලපෙන්නේ නැහැ. එක එක ඒවාට ගැලපෙන එක එක assets වලට ගැලපෙන liabilities වලට ගැලපෙන එක එක approaches you may have to use. Right? So remember, market approach is you can't apply the market approach. Either you may have to discuss or determine whether to go with the cost approach or whether to go with the income approach. What do you think? Which should be the best approach for them as you belong? Very good. Most of you have decided the income approach. Very good. Very good. That is the approach that they are using also. Income approach. Why? Cost approach is also may not be much appropriate, but yes, you can use the cost approach also. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙම වෙන්න පුළුවන් පුතා. දැන් ඔයාලා දැකලා ඇති සමහරලාට ඒ අඹේවැල ෆාම් එකේ ගොඩක් ඉන්නේ ඒ කියන්නේ ඔස්ට්‍රේලියන් කැටගරිස් නේ තියෙන්නේ ප්‍රීෂියන් එහෙම තියලා තියෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ එක එක breeds. So මෙහෙම පුළුවන්. අද මම ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවල ඉඳලා cattle කෙනෙක් ලංකාවට ගේන්න cost එක කොච්චරක් යනවද based on that even I can measure. But this is very good one. Income approach is very good one. හරි very good. හරිද? ඔයාලට හොඳට තේරිලා පාඩම. දැන් අපි යනවා මේ cattle ට income approach එක apply කරන්න. මොනවද cattle ට apply cattle ගෙන් හම්බෙන income approaches? What are the income? Income cattle කෙනෙක්ගේ income කොහොමද ගන්නෙ? cattle ගේ income මොනවද cattle ගේ income? Yes, very good. අපි cattle ගේ milk ගන්නවා. හරි. Very good. අපි දැන් ඒ කියන්නේ අනේ පව් එහෙම කියලා හිතන්න එපා. accountants point of view හිතමුකෝ. Not religious purpose. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි පව් සතා එහෙම නෙමෙයි. මොකද වෙන්නේ? අපි හිතමුකෝ milking cow කෙනෙක්ට පුළුවන් milking cow කෙනෙක් හිටියොත් හරි milking cow නේ milk ගන්නවා. තව මොනවද ඒ සතාගෙන් පැටව හම්බෙන්නත් පුළුවන් නේද? breedings උත් තියෙනවා. පැටව ගන්න. එතකොට මේ පැටියත් හිතන්නකො මේ පැටිය කියන්නේ ඔටෝමැටිකලි එන දෙයක්. මේ අපි ගන්නවා කැටල් කෙනෙක්ට. කැටල් කෙනෙක් අරගෙන ඒ කැටල්ව අපි කාලයක් තියාගෙන ඉන්නකොට බ්‍රීඩ් වෙලා ඌ බ්‍රීඩ් කරලා ඌ පැටියෙක් දෙන්නෙක් හදනවා කියන්නේ ඒක ඔටෝමැටිකලි අපිට හම්බෙන ගේන්ස්. නිකම්ම හම්බෙන ගේන්ස්. ඒවත් අපිට හම්බෙන ෆියුෂන් ගේන්ස්. එයාගෙන් හම්බෙන ඉන්කම් එකක්. years paisa beef ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මේ සතා මැරෙනවනේ අවුරුදු 5ක් හරි අවුරුදු 10ක් හරි ඉන්නවා නම් ඒ අවුරුදු 10 dry වෙලා කියන්නේ පුතා milk නැති වෙන කාලයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ dry වෙලා ඒ සතා මැරිලා යනවා. එහෙම වුණොත් ඒ සතාව අපි beef වලට විකුණනවා. එතකොට ඒ සතාවකින් මොනව ගන්න පුළුවන්ද? beef income එක ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. those are the income that we can get. හරිද? අපි එහෙම අරගෙන බැලුවොත් හරිද අපි ඔහම අරගෙන බැලුවොත් පුතා මේ කැටල් කෙනෙක්ගේ ඉන්කම් අපි නිකන් හිතමු හරිද අපි හිතමු right second right අපි cattle කෙනෙක්ගෙන් ගත්තොත්, hope you can see, I am sharing the whiteboard, right? We'll say that if it from one cattle, අපි හිතමු එහෙම කියලා අපි veterinary surgeon ගෙන් අහනවා, doctor දැන් කොහමද මේ වගේ සතෙක්ගෙන් milk ගන්න? ඊට පස්සේ අපි අහනවා දැන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් doctor මේ වගේ සතෙක් කොච්චර කාලයක් ජීවත් වෙනවද? එතකොට කියන්නේ අපි හිතමු doctor කියනවා okay මෙහෙමයි cattle කෙනෙක් ගත්තොත් cattle කෙනෙක්ගෙන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපිට 5 years ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5 අපි නිකම් මේ හිතන්නේ simply, right? year 5 years වගේ තමයි අවුරුදු 5ක් විතර යද්දි කිරිත් නෑ සතා මැරෙනවා කියලා. අපි එහෙම හිතමු. We'll see what are the cash flows we can get. cash flows ගන්න කොහොමද? අපි මෙහෙම ගන්නවා. දැන් අපි දන්නවා දවසකට cattle කෙනෙක්ට කොච්චර milk production එකක් තියනවද කියලා. අපි හිතමුකෝ දවසකට එක cattle කෙනෙකුට 5 liters ගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා milk. මේ 5 liters අපි වැඩි කරනවා milk liter එක price එකකින්. we'll say just 100. හරිද? ඊට පස්සේ මේක වැඩි කරනවා අපි හිතමු 365 days වලින්ම මෙයාගේ milk ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට අපි කරන්නේ 5 into right අපි ගමු එතකොට 5 into right 5 into 100 into 365 182,500 182,500 ගන්න පුළුවන් අපිට එක කව් කෙනෙකුගෙන් එක අවුරුද්දකට. අපි හිතමුකෝ අපි ගාව cows ලා ඉන්නවා කියලා 4000 මේක අපි වැඩි කරනවා 4000 cows වලින්. ඒ කියන්නේ මට ගන්න පුළුවන් 730 million, right? 730 million I can take for the year. Income එක විදියට. හරිද? ඊට පස්සේ දෙවනි අවුරුදු මම assume කරනවා මේ හරක් ටිකම හිටියොත් අවුරුදු 5ම කොච්චරක් හම් වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා. එතකොට අපි හිතමු price එක මේ milk price එක 10% ගානේ වැඩි වෙනවා කියලා. අන්න ඒ වුණොත් අපි මේක හැම අවුරුද්දෙම 10% වැඩි කරලා මෙන්න මෙහෙම cash flows ටික ගන්න. We can take those cash flows. Right? We can take those cash flows. And we can get the present value of these cash flows. අන්න ඒ ටික අරගත්තොත් that is the we can get the present අපි නිකමට හිතමු පුතා present value එක આવුත් මෙතන එනවා කියලා අපි I'm just assuming no any calculations අපි නිකමට හිතමුකෝ 500 millions 500 million just assume 500 million නෙමෙයි අපි හිතමුකෝ 1 billion එනවා set එක. So this is the fair value of the cattle that we can take. Understood? අන්න ඒ වගේ income approach එකක් base කරලා තමයි අපි මේ වගේ සතෙකුගේ fair value එක calculate කරන්නේ. So you can see there are lots of assumption. මොනවද අපි මේකට use කරලා තියෙන assumptions පුතා? අපි assume කරනවා මේක වැඩි වෙයි 10% වැඩි වෙනවා income එක on yearly basis. And also we assume that useful life of a cow is 5. එතකොට මේකේ පැටවුගේ හම්බෙනේවට අපිට පොඩි චූටි අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ට කියන calves ලා කියලා ඒ calves ලාගෙන් එන income උත් මේකට එකතු කරගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට beef ටිකෙන් හම්බෙන prices උත් මේව කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට beef price එක කී දෙනෙක් මැරෙනවද කියන එක අපි කොහොමද හරියටම ගන්න? ඒවා ඔක්කොම මොනවද? ඒවා ඔක්කොම assumptions. We want to make so many assumptions when we arriving this fair value under this income approach. But කරන්න දෙයක් නෑ. You can't apply market approach. There is no readily available market. Cost approach is also not possible. So obvious you want to use the income approach. But doesn't matter. මොනවද කරන්නේ නේ? There is no way to get. So at least by using income approach, we need to come to a particular valuation method. Right. Now, if you go and see this right, if you go and see this in this scenario, now you understood the everything what we discussed, right? Cost approach, the market approach, the income approach, the everything we learned, right? Remember, for all of these three scenarios, we use inputs, data. When we take this, the market approach, from where we have taken this, market data. This is from the market. From market we have taken this. ඔයාටත් මේ data බලන්න පුළුවන්, මටත් බලන්න පුළුවන්, ඕන කෙනෙකුට පුළුවන් මේ market data website එකට ගිහින් බලන්න. Market data, everybody can observe these data. ඕන කෙනෙකුට බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ market approach එකක් ගත්තොත්, market approach එකට අපි use කරලා තියෙන data අපි ඔක්කොලාටම observe කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයාටත් ගිහිල්ලා website එකේ බලන්න පුළුවන් නේද? Even for this cost approach, what we used for the in the case of this cost, under the cost approach also, you can take, but not like the market data, observable up to certain extent. But what about this third? What about this? Right. Here we have taken the quoted prices. Here we have taken the quoted prices. Here we have taken the prices of the identical assets. මේ වගේ asset එකක් අදගත්තොත් කීයද? හැබැයි when we discussed about this third scenario, that is this income approach, right? Under this income approach, you have taken the forecasted data. හරි. දැන් ඔයාලා මේ valuation techniques තුනෙන්ම බැලුවොත් observable data තියෙන්නේ මොකේද? Is it under the market approach or under the other approaches? Observable data හැමෝටම බලන්න පුළුවන් data තියෙන්නේ මොන approach එකේද? Is it under the market approach or is it under the cost approach or the income approach? It is under the market approach. The reason is, in the market approach you all can see the data. අන්න ඒ වගේ data වලට අපි කියනවා පුතා observable data කියලා. මේවට කියන්නේ පුතා observable data. මේවා observable, you can observe. But these are technically unobservable data. මේවා unobservable නේද? මේවා unobservable. These are not observable. Those are entity specific. කරන්න දෙයක් නෑ. entity එක යාළගේ values වලින් තමයි මේවා හොයාගෙන තින්නේ. Unobservable data. So standard says, standard එක කියනවා මේ වගේ valuation එකක් කරද්දී ගොඩාක් හොඳයි market approach එකට යන එක. Reason එක, those are observable data. In a market approach you can get observable data. එතකොට ඔයාට comfortable නේද? දැන් අපි මේම හිතන්නකෝ. ඔයාට ගන්න ඕනේ Apple phone එකක්. Right. ඔයාට ගන්න ඕනේ Apple phone එකක්. ඔයා Apple phone එකක් ගන්න ඕනි වෙලා සාමාන්‍ය Apple phone එකක් ගන්න ඕන නම් ඔයා දැන් යන Apple phones වල මොනවද තියෙනවද මම දන්නේ නැහැ අතට i මොනවද තියෙන i4 ද එහෙම තියෙනවනේ. අන්නේ Apple phone එකක් ගන්න යනවා නම් ඔයා සාමාන්‍ය price එකක් ඉස්සෙල්ලම බලන්නේ කොහෙන්ද? Apple phone එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ. From where do you normally check the prices? Yes, you go to particular website. මොකක් හරි website එකකට ගිහලා බලනවා. From internet එකකින් search කරලා බලනවා කීයද මේක කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ හරි අපි හිතමු ඔයා ගන්න යන asset එකට 100,000 ලක්ෂයයි. phone එක ලක්ෂයයි. දැන් ඔයා යනවා ගිහිල්ලා shop එකකින් අහනවා. එක shop එකකට ගියාම එයා කියනවා මේක නම් 102,000 වෙනවා කියලා. 102,000 වෙනවා කියලා කියනවා. ඔයාට ඒක ගැන comfortable නැද්ද? ඒ price එක ගැන ඔයාට comfortableද නැද්ද? ඔයා ගිහිල්ලා ඒ කඩේ මනුස්සයගෙන් අහනකොට එයා කියනවා මේක 1,02,000ක් වෙනවා මං ලක්ෂයකට දෙන්නම් කියලා කියනවා. Are you comfortable about that price or not? Yes, you comfortable about that price. ඒ මනුස්සයා කිව්වොත් මේක ලක්ෂ 2ක් වෙනවා කියලා. එහෙම වුණොත් you are not comfortable. හැබැයි ඔයා බලනවා right වෙබ්සයිට් එකෙන් බලද්දි වෙබ්සයිට් එකේ තියෙන ප්‍රයිස් එක ලක්ෂයයි. මේ මනුස්සයා දෙන්නේ 1,20,000කට. හරි. ඒ කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මාකට් එකේ යන ප්‍රයිස් එක තමයි රුපියල් 2,000ක් කියන්නේ පිටතටම ටැලි වෙන්නේ නේද? රුපියල් 2,000ක් 5,000ක් 10,000ක් ඒ වගේ පොඩි price ranging එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Yes. You confidence about that. The reason is ඔයාට ඒක observable data එකක්. ඔයා පිටින් කොහෙන් හරි බලලා ඇවිල්ලා තමයි price එක ගන්න. ඒ වගේම financial statements වල figures තියෙනවනේ. Financial statement වල තියෙන figures observable වෙන්න your confidence over the financial statement is high. තේරුණාද? දැන් ඔන්න ඔයාලා ගත්තොත් අපි ගත්තොත් මොනවා හරි company එකක balance sheet එකක් අරගෙන මේ balance sheet එකේ assets තියෙනවා fair value ගිහිල්ලා they have used income approaches. There's another company they have used some assets at the fair value, measured the asset at the fair value, and they are using market approach. ඔයා මොන balance sheet එකටද කැමති? මොන company balance sheet එකටද කැමති? market approach use කරන balance sheet එකටද කැමති? income approach use කරන balance sheet එකටද කැමති? Market approach. Why? Yes, market approach. Why you prefer to that? The reason is those are observable data. What එක ගැන sure එක වැඩි, confidence එක වැඩි. අන්න ඒ හින්දා standard එකක් කියනවා. ඔයාලා valuation technique එකක් use කරනවා නම් ඕන valuation technique එකක් ගත්තට කමක් නෑ. Either it's the market approach, income approach or the cost approach. But make sure you are using observable data as much as possible. පුළුවන් තරම් මොනවද දාන්න කියන්නේ? observable data ම දාන්න මේකට. පුළුවන් තරම් observable data ම දාන්න. observable data පුළුවන් තරම් දාලා ඔයා මොනවද කරන්නේ market approach එක ඕන approach එකට use observable data. But there may be cases you may have to use some unobservable data as well. එහෙම වෙන්න එපා නේ සමහර තැන්වලදී. දැන් මේ වගේ scenario එකකදී you may have to use unobservable data. Can't help. මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ? ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකෙන් කියන්නේ unobservable data ගන්න බැරි නම් valuation technique කරන්න එපා කියලා. What do you think? You shouldn't use it or not? use කරනවද නැද්ද ඒ වගේ දේවල්? මොකද කරන්නේ? Yes. ඒ කියන්නේ unobservable data තියනවා කියලා use කරන්නේ නැතුව දින්න ඕනේ නෑ. standard එක කියනවා මෙහෙමයි. Yes Nasik, we have to use it in market approach එකක් හොයන්න බැරි නම් how to get the fair value. At least we want to use whatever the method, whatever the data to get the fair value, no? එතකොට මොකද කරන්නේ? එහෙම unobservable data use කරොත් කොහොමද අපි financial statement use කරන කෙනාගේ confidence එක වැඩි කරන්නේ? Financial statements හදද්දී අපිට use කරන්න වෙයි valuation techniques. Valuation technique මොනවා වුණත් ඒකට use කරන data නේද? Whether it is observable data or whether it is unobservable data, that depends. Right? That depends. We have to use it. මොකද කරන්නේ ඉතින්? නෑ කියලා වෙන මොකුත් කරන්නද බෑනේ නේද? We have to use it. Use කරන්න වෙනවා. use කරොත් මොකද කරන්නේ? අපි හිතමුකෝ අපි company valuation technique එකක් use කරලා තියෙනවා income approach. And we have used unobservable data. කරන්න දෙයක් නෑ use කරන්න වෙයි. මොකද කරන්න ඕනේ එහෙම වුණොත්? We use unobservable data, we have to do this. මොකද කරන්නේ? What we should do? Yes, if we are using what we are supposed to do. Standard එක කියන්නේ use කරන්න කමක් නෑ කරන්න දෙයක් නෑ use කරන්න එපැයි. but you want to disclose how you calculate that. You want to disclose. The market approach එක වැඩි disclose කරන්න දෙයක් නෑ. Why? Everybody can easily go and check those from the website, CSC website or wherever they want. But remember, if those information are not observable at the market, it's your duty to provide the information, assumptions, calculation, what you used when you arriving this your fair value in your financial statement. Financial statement එකේ පුළුවන් තරම් disclose කරනවා. මේක හැදුවේ මෙහෙම. මේ සතෙකුගේ useful life එක නැත්නම් සතෙක්ගේ age එක 5 කියලා තමයි assume කරේ. discounting factor එක මේක තමයි use කරේ. milk price එක මේ විදිහට 10% ගානේ හැම අවුරුද්දම වැඩි වෙනවා කියලා use කරා. The facts and figures you want to give in the financial statement. So that is the requirement of the standard. Use it, doesn't matter, use it. But unless it is a market approach and when your data are unobservable, standards say you no help, you want to use those unobservable data, but remember to provide adequate disclosures in your financial statements. Right. So that's what the standard requirement is. Right. Standard එක කියනවා you want to use those unobservable data. Right. Okay. Disclosure. So we'll see the standard requirement. Standard says the input of data. What are the data that you are using for this? What are the data that you are using for these calculations? Right? When it comes to this input of data, these input of data are put into 3 levels. First one is called level 1, second one is level 2, and third one is level 3. What it includes in the level 1? Level 1 are the quoted prices. See, level 1 are the quoted prices. Level 1 kiyanne, those are quoted prices for identical assets in active markets. Right? Level 2, sorry. Right, now you can see those. Okay, level 1 are quoted prices. Level 1 are quoted prices, or else we can call these are observable data. Right, observable data. Those are known as observable data. Right? Level 2 data, right? This is level 1 data, right? This is level 1 data. And level 2 data, what do you mean by level 2 data? Level 2 data input are observable prices that are not level 1 inputs. Level 2 kiyanne observable tamai. හැබැයි level 1 වගේ superb නේ. Those are not much observable. Right? This may include quoted prices for similar asset in active markets. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදිහට ගත්තොත් පුතා මම මෙහෙම කියන්නම්. දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අපි මෙහෙම හිතමු. Simple. This is an example only. There are 2 companies called Manchi and Melbourne. මේ දෙන්නම identical assets නේ. සමාන වගේ companies දෙකක්. අපි හිතමු Manchi is a PLC කියලා. Where you can get the quoted price. But Melbourne is just a private limited company here. What you can do, you can take Manchi's share price 100 rupee and do some adjustment and use it for, we'll say 95 rupees as the Melbourne. Using identical assets, you are using the same prices. නැත්නම් මේම හිතමු. තව example එකක් ගමු අපි එතනටම. තව example එකක්. මේ වගේම තව example එකක් ගමු. Right? There's the building. මෙන්න මෙහෙම building එකක් තියෙනවා. මේ building එක දැනට week එකකට කලින් 75 million වලට විකුණුවා. 1 week before this asset was sold 75 million building. මේ අපේ office එක මේ අපේ බිල්ඩින් එක. ඒ වගේම බිල්ඩින් එක. මේ එහා පැත්තේ තියෙන. මේ බිල්ඩින් එකට එහා පැත්තේ. How you can get the fair value of our asset? කීයක් විතර කියන්න පුළුවන්ද අපේ බිල්ඩින් එකේ fair value එක? අපේ බිල්ඩින් එකේ fair value එක කීයක් විතර වෙන්න පුළුවන්? $75 million. Very good. Somewhere close to 75 million. අයදින් හැබැයි මෙහෙමයි. ඒ බිල්ඩින් එකේ ලිෆ්ට් එකක් නෑ. අපේ බිල්ඩින් එකේ ලිෆ්ට් එකකුත් තියෙනවා. ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිකල් අලුතෙන් හදපු බිල්ඩින් එකක්. අපේ fair value එක කීයක් විතර වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? Yes, maybe 80 million, maybe 85 million, right? Likewise, it may be different. හරිද? මොකද අපේ asset එකේ specific specification එකකුත් තියෙනවා. Likewise, you can take the quoted price for similar assets. Quoted price for identical asset. සමාන asset, ඒ වගේම assets, right? Observable input that are not prices, such as interest rates. නේද? සමහර වෙලාවට පුතා discounting factors ගන්න interest rate වගේ දේවල් වට market එකකින් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Those kind of things. So those are the level 2 data. But level 3 data are unobservable data. Level 3. එහෙනම් අපි අර observable unobservable කියන වචන වලට අලුතෙන් use කරන්න ඕනේ මෙන්න මේ වචන ටික මොනවද? Level 1 data, level 2 data and level 3 data. Which is the best one? Level 1 data is the best one. So standard says to use this level 1 data. Standard එක කියනවා ඔයා මොන valuation technique එක කරත් කමක් නෑ. Doesn't matter whatever the valuation technique that you can use. But remember to use level 1 data, which means the observable data. When you use level 3 data, the confidence over your valuation is little less than the observable when you value your this thing out by using the observable data. So standard encourage you to use level 1, but if there is no option, doesn't matter you to use level 2, level 3 data, but make sure that you have given all the required disclosures in the financial statements. Okay, right? So that's what basically the standard says. So this is also the same what I have given to you, right? Okay, so we have done major part of the standard. I hope it's clear to you all what do you mean by this fair value and what do you mean by these 3 valuation techniques. And also you may familiar what are the data or the data that we want to use. I mean like observable and unobservable, level 1 data, level 1 data and the level 2 data and level 3 data, right? Okay. Okay, right. Hope that part is clear to you all. Well, right? Right. Question number 1. A Limited has an investment property that is measured at fair value. The property is rented out on short-term lease. The directors wish to fair value the property by estimating the present value of the net cash flows that our property will generate for A. They argue that this best reflects the way in which the building will generate economic benefit for A. The building is unique, although there have been many sales of similar buildings in the local area. Required. Discuss whether the valuation technique suggested by directors comply with SFRS 13. A Limited, again we'll read this, right? A Limited has an investment property that is measured at fair value. Right? hari neda දැන් ඒක අපි දන්නවනේ. The property is rented out on short term lease. The directors wish to fair value the property by estimating the present value of the net cash flows that the property will generate for A. ඒ කියන්නේ management එක මොන method එක යන්නද try කරන්නේ? management එක මොන method එකටද try කරන්නේ? management එක try කරන්නේ income approach එකකට යන්න. Yes, they try to go for income approach. They are going to use level 1 data, 2 data or 3 data. Income approach, they are going to use income approach, and for that income approach, what sort of data they are going to use? Is it observable data or unobservable? Or tell me level 1, level 2 or level 3? Yes, level 3 data they are going to use. හැබැයි management එක කියනවා බලන්න management එක කියනවා the directors wish to fair value the property by estimating the present value of the net cash flows that the property will generate for A. They argue that this best reflects the way in which the building will generate future economic benefit for A. මොකද මේ building එකේ income approach එක ගන්න එක තමයි හොඳම දේ. මොකද ඒකෙන් තමයි හරි income එක පෙන්වන්නේ කියලා එයා කියනවා. ඊට පස්සේ question එකේ කියනවා the building is unique. දැන් මේ building එක හරි unique ලු. unique කියන්නේ අපි හිතමුකෝ ලස්සන තැනක තියෙන්නේ. නැත්තම් heart of the city තියෙන්නේ. නැත්තම් මේ building එකට විශේෂ මොනවා හරි feature එකක් තියෙනවා. Although there have been many sales of similar building in the local areas. මේ building එක වගේම ළඟ තිබ්බ building මේලා ඊයේ පෙරේද විකුණලා තියෙනවා. දැන් අපෙන් අහනවා discuss whether the valuation technique suggested by directors comply with the SFRS 30. හරිද? දැන් අපිට කියනවා මේකේ directors ලා කියන එක ඕකේද? නැත්නම් directors ලා කියන එක හරිද වැරදිද කියලා අහන්න. දැන් අර last line එක බලන්නකෝ. The building is unique, although there have been many sales of similar building. අහල පහල building විකුණලා තියෙනවා මේ ළඟදී. ඔයාලා හිතන විදිහට මේ directors ලා කියන method එක හරිද or it has to be changed? Are you in an agreement with what the directors concern or directors say? Rushdie, you say no. Why? Yes, everybody it seems it says yes. Very good, Rushdie. Because level 2 data is exist. level 1 නම් නැහැ. ඉතින් level 3 එකට වැටෙන්න ඕනේ නේද? අපි level 3 data use කරන්න ඕනේ නේ. level 1 data use කරන්න ඕනේ. level 1 data නෑ. ඉතින් level 2 තියෙන්නේ. ළඟ තියෙන buildings විකුණලා තියෙන්නේ. අපිට තියෙන්නේ ඒ price එකටම පොඩි adjustment එකක් කරලා something similar. මොකද that is the market approach. නේද? market approach එකක්. ඒ කියන්නේ market එකේ මිනිස්සු සල්ලි දීලා ළඟදී අපේ ළඟ තිබ්බ buildings ගත්තා. market approach එකක්ම තියෙනවා. හැබැයි ඒකට use කරලා තියෙන level 2 data ම base කරලා we can calculate a fair value for our building, right, based on that market approach, because it may reflect you the most the corrected picture. Level 3 data use කරොත් එහෙම that involves so many assumptions. Income අරගෙන ඒවා මෙච්චර වැඩි වෙයි කියලා understood. Therefore you need to stick into the level 2 when the level 2 data is available. Why we should go and accept level 3 data, isn't it? Right. So your answer is correct. Very good. Now you want to see how to write the answer. That is the most important thing. The director's estimate of future net cash flows that the building will generate is level 3 input. SFRS 13 gives lowest priority to level 3 input. These should not be under if level 1 used if level 1 or level 2 input exists. Observable data about the recent sale prices of similar properties is level 2 inputs. The fair value of the building should be therefore based on these prices with adjustment made as necessary to reflect the specific location and condition of this building. මං අර ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වේ අපි building එකට lift එකක් තියෙනවා. අනිත් building වලට lifts නැහැ. එහෙමනම් lift එකටත් පොඩි value එකක් අපිට add කරන්න පුළුවන්. By considering those factors, we need to use level 1 or the level 2 data. Therefore, the suggestions or the view given by the directors is not appropriate. We have to use because level 2 data is available where we can use this level 2 data. Okay, right. Quickly note this down. Okay, done. Better to take a screenshot, then later on you can note this down. Right. So, okay. The second thing is, right, then on api topics kata kara. මේකේ දෙවෙනි topic පළවෙනි එකකින් කතා කරේ පුතා valuation techniques කියන එක. Again, there is a concept in this SFRS 13 standard called markets. Market. Right? In this standard, they specify two types of markets. Right? Standard එක කියනවා two types of market, one as the principal market, the other one as the most advantageous market. මොකද්ද මේ? මෙන්න මේ වචන දෙක අපි දැන් චුට්ටක් ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ. There are two concepts called, there are two markets called principal market and most advantageous market. කියලා market දෙකක් තියෙනවලු. දැන් ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙමයි පුතා. ඒ කියන්නේ standard එක කියනවා ඔයා valuation technique එකක් use කරන්න දැන් දන්නවනේ. හරි. valuation technique එක use කරන්න දන්නවනම් ඔයා බලන්න මේ asset එක හරි මේ liability එක හරි වෙළඳාම් වෙන trade වෙන market එක මොකක්ද කියලා. Accordingly, that identified two markets called principal market and most advantageous market. Right? The price, we'll read the slide, the contents in the slide. The price received when an asset is sold or paid when a liability is transferred may differ depending on specific market where the transaction occurs. It is assumed that transaction to sell an asset to transfer a liability take place either in the principal market for the asset or liability or in the absence of principal market in the most advantageous market for the asset or for the liability. The making all මතක තියාගන්න මෙන්න මේ දෙන්න. What do you mean by principal market? Sorry, you should keep in mind there are two markets called principal market and most advantageous market. There are two things, two markets, principal market, and if we don't have a market called principal, you want to go to the most advantageous market. එතන බලන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙමයි පුතා. ඔන්න අපි මෙහෙම හිතමුකෝ. මට මේ උදාහරණය මම හිතනවා ඔයාලා ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට එක අල්ලගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා. right. ඔන්න එක මිනිස්සෙක් ඉන්නවා X කියලා. හරිද? එක මිනිස්සෙක් ඉන්නවා X කියලා. මේ මිනිස්සයා විකුණන්නේ එළවලු. right, vegetables. Now this person sells vegetable in local wholesale market or the retail market, or else he also sells this to local wholesale market. තොග වෙළඳාම් wholesale විකුණනවා එළවලු. Normally පාරිභෝගිකයන්ට විකුණන්නේ සිල්ලරත් බඩු විකුණනවා, රිටේලිත් කරනවා. Third category, he export. In local market, he sells 20,000 නැත්නම් 20 tons. Ton 20ක් විකුණනවා එළවලු. Retail market එකේ සිල්ලර වෙළඳාමට ton 20යි. Wholesale market එකට 8 tons export කරනවා 2 tons. එයාගේ total එළවලු විකුණන්නේ මේ විදිහට. ඔයාලට තේරෙන විදිහට වැඩිපුරම මේ transaction එක වෙන්නේ මොන market එකේද? ආණ්ඩෝන්නේ නේ ඒ ප්‍රශ්නේ. ඔයාලට පේනවා ඒක වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ retail market එකේ. If there is any asset sold in a huge volume in a particular market, we identify that as the principal market. Principal market එක කියන්නේ මොනවා හරි transaction එකක් වැඩිපුරම වෙන market එක. That is called the principal market. When you get the fair value, right? When you get the fair value, you should use this principal market's price when you arrive at the fair value. Standard එක කියනවා ඔයා මොනාරි ඔයා fair value එකක් ගන්න හදනවා නම් ඒ asset එක වැඩිපුරම විකුණෙන එයාගේ ප්‍රධානම market එකේ price එක තමයි fair value එක කරද්දි ගන්න. Understood? Fair value එක ගද්දි ගන්න ඕනි the principal market එක තමයි ගන්න ඕනි කියලා standard එක කියනවා. Right? When you arrive the fair value, you should take the fair value of the principal market. Whatever the price trading in the principal market. What do you mean by the principal market? Principal market means, you can see, principal market means, principal market is the market with the greatest volume and level of activities for that asset or the liability. මේ asset එක හරි මේ liability එක හරි වැඩිපුරම trade වෙන greatest volume එකක් තියෙන market එක තමයි අපි කියන්නේ principal market එකක් කියලා. If principal market exists, if we have a principal markets, then price in that market, look at this word, right? Look at this word. Price in that market must be used to establish the fair value. If your asset or your liability has a principal market, if your asset or the liability has a principal market, you want to use the price in that market when to arrive the fair value. Clear? That is what you want to use. Then standard say, right, look at this. Assume company has invested in shares at Sampath Bank. Then measuring, here it should be T, then measuring the fair value market price of the shares can be taken from the share market information, because we know shares are trading at higher volume in the share market. So that is the price that you want to use. So that is called the principal market. Second one, what do you mean by the most advantageous market? The standard say, if there is no principal market, that means in the absence of the principal market, you want to go and get the fair value from the most advantageous market. What do you mean by this most advantageous market? අපි මේම හිතමු පුතා. අර ඉස්සෙල්ලා මිනිස්සෙක් එළවලු විකුණුවා නේද? අන්නේ එළවලු විකුණපු උදාහරණයක් අපි ගමු. X කියන person, හරිද? X කියන person retail business එකක් කරනවා. He does in the business in retail. He does the business in wholesale. Also, he exports some of the goods. Right? He involved into these three. හැබැයි අපි දන්නේ නැහැ පුතා මෙයා ටොන් කීයක් රිටේල් මාකට් එකේ විකුණනවද ටොන් කීයක් හෝල්සේල් මාකට් එකේ විකුණනවද ටොන් කීයක් එක්ස්පෝර්ට් මාකට් එකේ මෙයා විකුණනවද නැත්නම් අපිට ඩේටා නැහැ. හැබැයි අපි දන්නවා මෙයා එක එළවලු කිලෝවක් විකුණන්නේ right 100 rupees ගානේ රිටේල් මාකට් එකේ 95 at the wholesale market and 120 at the export market. මේ තමයි මෙයාගේ selling price. අපි දන්නේ මෙයා කොච්චරක් විකුණනවද එළවලු මේ retail market එකේ. එහෙම තිබුණා නම් අපිට හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් the principal market where the greatest volume of transaction happens. But in case of in the absence of this, you want to go and see, okay, අපි දන්නේනේ මේ markets තුනෙන් ලංකාවේ මේ market තුනේ වැඩිපුරම transaction වෙන්නේ එළවලු මොන market එකේද කියලා අපි දන්නේ. එහෙනම් අපිට හොයාගන්න බෑ මොකද්ද market එක කියලා. Principal market. In the absence of the principal market, standard says මෙහෙම ගන්න. ඔයා බලන්න retail market එකේ කීයද selling price එක? wholesale market එකේ selling price එක කීයද? export market එකේ selling price එක කීයද කියලා. ඒකෙන් අඩු කරන්න transport cost එකයි. transport cost and transaction cost. ගෙන යන්න යන කුලියයි commission එහෙම තියෙන්නේ. අන්නේ දෙකම අඩු කරලා බලන්න. අපි හිතමුකෝ මේක transport කරන්න 1 කිලෝ එකක් transport කරන්න 5 rupees ගන්නවා. ඒක transact විකුණලා දෙන්න commission එකක් ගන්නවා 2 rupees. Here to transfer it cost 6 rupees. එක විකුණන්න 1 rupee ගන්නවා. Here transport cost is 12. Transaction cost is 5. Standard එක කියනවා right. හරි. මෙහෙම හදලා ඔයාලා ගන්න මෙන්න මේකෙන් එන net answer එක. net answer එක ගන්න කියලා කියනවා. net answer එක. How much is that? 100 minus 7, 93. Right? 95 minus 7, that is 88. Right? 120 minus 17, 103. හරි නේ මම ගත්ත figures 103. then බලන්නකො මේකෙන් වැඩිපුරම වට සල්ලි හම්බෙන්නේ මොන මාකට් එකේද? most highest one. highest එක වට හම්බෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ export market. You are getting the highest price, you are getting the highest amount at this export market. පේන්නේ නේ චරෙන්න. My gosh. Sorry. Let's see to undo that. That won't happen. Okay. Let me to quickly note it again. Sorry. Now, X sold these goods at 3 markets. Retail, wholesale, and export. We don't know the volume, but we know what are the prices: selling price, transport cost, and transaction cost. And we know how much is the net figure that we arrived. So retail, the selling price was 100. Wholesale, it was 95. Export, it was 120. Then transport cost, here it was 5 rupee. Transaction cost was 2 rupees. There we arrived 93. Here transport cost was 6 and transaction cost was 1. So it came 88. Here transport cost was 12 and transaction cost was 5. Then we got balance of 103 and we identified we are getting the highest return from this export market because here we don't know what is the principal market because volume of the transaction is not there. In that case, standard say in the absence of that principal market, you want to use the price of most advantageous market. Most advantageous market in the sense the market which you get the highest price after considering both transport and transaction cost. පටල ගන්න එපා. ආයිත් අපි යනවා. There are two markets. The first market is principal market. What do you mean by principal market? Principal market is the market with the greatest volume of transaction happens. If you can clearly identify the market where the particular item or the asset or the liability has the greatest volume of transaction, you should identify that as the principal market. If you can't find these information, standards say, okay, don't worry. Then you can see what is the most advantageous market. What do you mean by most advantageous market? Most advantageous market means the market where you got a higher price after considering both transaction and the transport cost. Transaction and the transport cost. Right? So here you can see this is the most advantageous market. This is the most advantageous market. Most advantageous. මොනවද කරන්නේ? ඔයාලට principal market එකක් හොයාගන්න නැත්නම් දෙවෙනි option එක තමයි හොයන්න ඕනේ. Most advantageous market. What do you mean by most advantageous market? මට වැඩිපුරම සල්ලි හම්බෙනවා. ඒ මොනවා consider කරාමද? transaction cost එකයි transport cost එකයි දෙකම අඩු කරලා වැඩිම සල්ලි හම්බෙන market එක should be the most advantageous market. Are you clear right now? Right, up to this point is clear. Now you're clear about the principal market and the most advantageous market. Right? Hari. Then right. The most advantageous market is the market that maximizes the amount. ඒක තමයි මම ඔයාලට කිව්වේ නේද? That maximize the amount that would be received to sell the asset, or minimizes the amount that would be paid to transfer liability after taking into account transaction and transport cost. Both you need to consider, both transaction and transport cost. දෙකම අඩු කරාට පස්සේ හරිද? ඔන්න බලන්න පුතා. දැන් මෙතන තව එක පොයින්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා අපිට ඉගෙන ගන්න. මොකක්ද ඒ කියන පොයින්ට් එක අපි ඉගෙන ගන්න. right. තව එක පොයින්ට් එක. එතකොට අපි මාකට් කියන concept එකක් දාන්න. තව එක concept එකයි then we done with the standard. right? okay. දැන් අපි මෙන්න මේක කියවමුකෝ. තාම අපි දැන් අපේ standard එකේ නම මොකක්ද? අපි මේ standard එකෙන් try කරන්නේ මොකක් ඉගෙන ගන්නද? we want to identify the fair value. දැන් අපි ගොඩක් දේවල් ඉගෙන ගත්තා fair value එකට. fair value කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා ඉගෙන ගත්තා. fair value එක measure කරන්න ඕනි කොහොමද කියලා ඉගෙන ගත්තා. there were 3 valuation techniques called market approach, cost approach and the income approach. Then we learn how to use observable, unobservable data, right? That we learn under 3 tiers, level 1, level 2 and level 3 data, right? A level 1, level 2, level 3 data වලින් අපි කොහොම level 1 data use කරනවා නම් වඩාත් හොඳයි. In the absence of level 1 or the level 1 data, you may use level 2 or level 3 data. If you are using level 3 data, you want to make disclosures in the financial statements, right? We learned about. Then we moved to about the market. In market, we identify there are 2 markets because we know under the definition we learn this is a market approach. What do you mean by this market? There are 2 markets called principal market and most advantageous market. What do you mean by principal market? Principal market in the sense the market with the greatest volume of the transaction happens. In the absence of the principal market, you want to go and get the price of the most advantageous market. In the absence of the principal market, you want to find most advantageous market. How to find the most advantageous market? You want to deduct both transaction and transport cost from the selling price and arrive what is the highest amount where you can get. That market you want to refer as the most advantageous market. හැබැයි අපි දැන් කතා කරන්නේ fair value එක ගැන. එක පොඩි point එකක් ඉගෙන ගන්න තියෙනවා. ඒක ඉගෙන ගන්න කලින් අපි භාගයක් මේ question එක කරලා then we learn that final point. What is it? Okay. An asset is sold in 2 active markets, market A and market B. ඔන්න අපිට market දෙකක් තියෙනවා. market A and market B. At rupees 98 and 97. So you can see market A, we sell this particular asset. මොකක් කරේ asset එකක්, property plant and equipment එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් මොනවා හරි දෙයක්. market B එකේ මේක විකුණනවා 97 වලට. Entity does business in both markets and can access the price in the market for the asset at the measurement data as follows. මේ මාකට් දෙකේම මේගොල්ලෝ වෙළඳාම් කරනවා. හරියට අර ඉස්සලා X මනුස්සයා එළවලු විකුණේ රිටේල් වලටත් එළවලු විකුණුවා. එයා විකුණුවා හෝල්සේල්, එයා විකුණුවා බඩු ටික රට යවුවා නේද? මාකට් තුනකට විකුණනවා. But we are taking two markets called market A and market B. Right? එක මේ asset එක විකුණන්න transaction cost එක යනවා 4, transport cost එක යනවා 4. එතකොට විකුණලා net අපිට හම්බ වෙනවා 90. Make a transaction cost and the transport cost totaling into 5 where we can get net of 2. හරි. දැන් අපෙන් question එකක් අහනවා. දැන් ඒ කියන්නේ මේ question එකෙන් අපෙන් අහනවා එක ඔන්න බලන්න. හරිද? What is the fair value? දැන් අපෙන් අහන්නේ market එක නෙමෙයි. market එක නෙමෙයි. What is the fair value of the asset? මෙන්න මේ asset එකේ fair value එක කියලා අහනවා. If market A is the principal, අය දීලම තියෙනවා නේ. market A is the principal market. Right? market A එක principal market එක නම් market A එක principal market මෙයා principal දැන් standard එකත් අපිට කිව්වේ මෙහෙමනේ. if you can find a principal market use it. දීලම තියෙනවා market එක. ඒ කියන්නේ standard එක කියන්නේ යන්න ඕනි හැම වෙලාවෙම fair value ගන්න market මේ the principal market එකට. principal market එකක් නැත්නම් විතරයි most advantageous market එකට යන්නේ. මේ question එකේ දීලා තියෙනවා principal market එක market A කියලා. එහෙනම් you can take market A as the principal market, but remember how you should get the fair value. Standard says if market A is the principal market for the asset, fair value of the asset would be 94. හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න පුතා. අපි මෙන්න මේ ගන්නකොට මේ මාකට් අපි මේ ඉගෙන ගත්තේ මාකට්. It's a different concept. When you take the fair value, you should take from the selling price, you should deduct only the transport cost. Transport cost එක විතරයි අපි අතාරින්නේ. fair value ගන්න. පටල ගන්න එපා. අපි මේ දැන් ඔච්චර වෙලා කතා කරේ මාකට් දෙකක් ගැන. There are two markets called principal market and most advantageous market. කොහොමද principal market එක හොයාගත්තේ? වැඩිපුරම transaction වෙන market එක තමයි principal market එක. අපි හිතමුකෝ අපේ company එකට නෑ කියලා principal market එක. එහෙම වුණොත් හොයාගන්න ඕනේ what is the most advantageous market කියලා. most advantageous market එක ගන්න කිව්වේ කොහොමද? selling price එකෙන් අඩු කරන්න, right? selling price එකෙන් අඩු කරන්න transaction cost, transport cost both. මේ දෙකම අඩු කරාම ඔයාට වැඩිපුරම price එකක් හම්බෙන market එකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ most advantageous market. When you arrive the most advantageous market, you deduct both transaction and the transport cost. දැන් ඔයා හොයාගත්ත මොකද්ද most advantageous market එක කියලා. මේ දෙකේ most advantageous market එක වෙන්නේ market B. ඇයි ඒ? ඔයාට වැඩිපුරම සල්ලි හම්බෙන්නේ market B එකෙන්. එහෙනම් most advantageous market එක market B. ඔයා market එක හොයාගත්තා. අපි question එකෙන් අහන්නේ මෙයාගේ fair value එක කීයද කියලා. market එක නෙමෙයි අහන්නේ. market එක හොයාගන්නේ මේ දෙකම අඩු කරනවා. හැබැයි fair value එක හොයද්දී අපි අඩු කරන්නේ මේ transport cost එක විතරයි. හරිද? right. හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න ඒක. ඔන්න අපි පළවෙනි question එකෙන් ඇහුවේ fair value එක කීයද? market A principal market නම්. market A එක principal market නම් fair value එක පුතා 94. කොහොමද මේ 94 ගත්තේ? market එකයි fair value කියන්නේ දෙකක්. remember right? market එක හොයද්දී we deduct both transaction transport cost, but when you take the fair value you deduct only the transport cost. transport cost එක විතරයි අඩු කරන්නේ. transaction cost එක ignore කරනවා. What is the fair value of the asset if neither market A nor market B is the principal market? මේ දෙන්නම principal market වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් අපි දන්නවා in the absence of the if neither market A nor the market B is the principal market for the asset, entity must measure the fair value of the asset using the price in the most advantageous market. Then you want to get the price in most advantageous market. The maximum net amount after deducting both transaction and transport cost is obtained in market B, that is 92. Right? But this is හොඳට මතක ගන්න. මෙන්න මේ ටික තමයි පුතා වැදගත්. දැන් අපි හොයාගත්තා දැන් මේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා එකේ අපි හොයාගත්තා මේ ඉස්සෙල්ලා එකේ අපි හොයාගත්තා what is the most advantageous market. This is the most advantageous market because ඒ කියන්නේ මෙහෙමයි ඉස්සෙල්ලාම ගන්න කියන්නේ principal market එක. ඒතකොට question එකේ පළවෙනි part එකකින් ඇහුවා market A principal market නම් fair value කීයද? ඊට ඔයා fair value දුන්නේ මේකෙන් මේක අඩු කරලා. right? price එකෙන් fair value transport cost එක අඩු කරලා තමයි ඔයා fair value එක කිව්වේ. දෙවෙනි question එකකින් අපිට අහනවා market A market B දෙකම principal market නෙමෙයි. එහෙනම් අපි යන්න ඕනේ මොකටද? most advantageous market. Then we identify what is the most advantageous market, which is market B. Why? How we got this? We deduct both transaction and transport cost. එතකොට අපිට වැඩිපුරම සල්ලි හම්බෙන එක තමයි most advantageous market. හැබැයි ඒක නෙමෙයි fair value. 92 නෙමෙයි fair value. fair value එක ගන්න ආයි කරන්න ඕනේ. 92 එකෙන් අඩු කරනවා මේ 2 විතරයි. ඒ කියන්නේ transport cost එක විතරයි. Then fair value should be 95. ඒක තමයි මෙන්න මේ question එකෙන් අපිට කියන්න පුතා. But this is not the fair value. We can mean 92 is not the fair value. The fair value of the asset is obtaining by deducting transport cost but not transaction cost. This is important. Transaction cost එක අඩු කරන්නේ නේ transport cost එක අඩු කරලා තමයි අපි ගන්නෙ from the price received from the asset. Therefore the fair value of the asset is 95. Are you clear? Any doubt? තේරුණාද? doubt එකක් තියෙනවද? Clear or not? Right. Anybody needs it's not clear, please let me know. Right. හරි. අපි බලමු මෙන්න මේ question එක ඔයාලා බලන්නකෝ. එතකොට ඔයාලට තේරෙයි. මට මෙන්න මේ question එකට answers කියන්න. What is the answer for part A and what is the answer for part B? Tell me the answer and we will break we will get a break. 10-15 minute break. The question asks to give you what is the fair value. Fair value එක තමයි question එකකින් අහන්නේ. Yes, can I get the answers? Yes, most of you have arrived a single common answer. That means probably it should be the correct one. Okay. So the first part of the question say market 1 is the principal market. So you can see if the market 1 is the principal market, nothing to be worried. We can directly take the fair value. When we take the fair value, we know we should deduct only the transport cost from the price. So in that case, 26 minus 2, answer for the part A should be 24. If market 1 is the principal market, then fair value should be measured using the price that would be received in that market less the transport cost. The fair value would therefore be 24 rupees, that is 26 minus 2. Transaction cost are ignored as those are not characteristics of this asset. ඒ කියන්නේ පුතා දැන් ඇයි අපි එතන transaction cost එක ගන්නෙ නැත්තේ? ඔයාලට එහෙම doubt එකක් ඇතිනේ දැන්. transact දැන් අපි අනිවාර්යෙන් ඒ item එක විකුණන තැනට ගේන්න අපිට transport cost එකක් යනවා. නේද? ඒ item එක හදලා අපි හිතමුකෝ එළවලු නම් එළවලු ටික හදලා එළවලු ටික market එකට ගෙනියන්න transport cost එකක් යනවා. එතකොට ඒ transaction cost transport cost එක transaction එකට directly අදාළයි. නැත්තම් බඩු ටික කුඹුරේ ඉඳලා field එකේ ඉඳලා අපිට ගේන්න බැරි නම් විකුණන තැනට විකුණ ගන්න බෑ. So it is a direct cost එක. හැබැයි transaction cost එක කියන්නේ ඒක විකුණ ගන්න කරන වියදමක්. ඒ හින්දා තමයි අපි මේක ignore කරන්නේ, right? So you should deduct only the transport cost. Second one, if neither market is principal market for the asset, then fair value should be measured in the most advantageous market. The most advantageous market is the market that minimize the net amount received from the sale. Sorry, the maximize the net amount. වැඩිම ගන්න. එතකොට දැන් ඔයාලට පුළුවන් මේ දෙකම බැලුවොත්, ඒ කියන්නේ මතක තියාගන්න අපි most advantageous market එක ගන්නකොට අපි consider කරනවා market මේ මොනවද both transaction and transport cost. In that case, you know that you can get higher net amount from market 2, which is the most advantageous market. So market 2 is the most advantageous market. Then you want to get the fair value of that. So again you want to deduct 25 rupees, and from that you can only deduct the transport cost of 2. Then your fair value should be 23. So that's how you want to write the answer for the answer 1. Part A, the answer is 24. Part B, the answer is 23. Quickly note it down, or else take a snapshot and anyway we will take a small break and come around 15 minutes break. Then we'll continue the balance part. I think there's nothing much to continue in this lesson, because there's only one part called the non-financial asset. Then we want to discuss about the disclosures. Then we done with the standard, and we can discuss some of the past paper questions as well. Okay, right. So shall we take a break and come, and we'll continue the balance part after the break.